I have hiked in a dozen of countries, but Transylvania and Norway are two of my favorite places. But which one is better? Find out from this video. If you are new here, welcome to my channel where we talk about hiking in Transylvania and around the world. I've been hiking in Transylvania for 3 decades and I have spent only 2 weeks in Norway, but in this video I will still try to make a comparison of the two from multiple points of view. Let's see which one will win. The first one is the scenery, the views. Of course, Norway is famous for its majestic fjords and numerous waterfalls, but on the other hand, Transylvania has a really nice varied landscape with forests, high ridges where the temperature stays below 20 degrees all year long, and of course the one and only Krajului range. I cannot decide a winner in this category, so I will say this one is a draw. The second category is the weather. During our hiking in Norway we were quite lucky and didn't get bad weather, but during our 2 weeks there it rained every single day, sometimes even 2 days non-stop. I don't say this cannot happen in Transylvania, but in general I feel that the weather is more stable and just nicer. So the winner is Transylvania here. The third category is about crowds. Now, of course, the popular places are really crowded anywhere in the world. But such crowds as I have seen in Norway on our way to Trolltunga or Preikestolen, I have not seen anywhere else. So, in my opinion, in this category, Transylvania wins. The next category is the road infrastructure. And the winner is not so obvious as you would think. Now, of course, in Norway we have good quality roads which are asphalted, and basically you can drive on asphalted roads to the trailhead, but there are practically no highways just in the really southern part of the country, which makes travel quite slow, and additionally the speed limits are really low even for someone who doesn't like to speed, and the penalties for not obeying the speed limits are just crazy. On the other hand, in Transylvania foreigners have to adapt a little bit to the local driving style, which has been described by some as aggressive and really fast, and on some roads there is high traffic with possible traffic jams, but slowly more and more kilometers of highways are built. On the other hand, it's not uncommon that the last kilometers of a road leading to a trailhead is not asphalted. In these cases you don't really know the condition of the road, and if you don't have an SUV you are really left wondering if you will manage to drive till the end with your car and where will you be able to park it. For those who don't drive a car, you can usually get quite close to the trailhead by train or by bus, and from there you can take a cab or you can ask for the help of a local. But in the end I still feel that in Transylvania you can also get reasonably fast and reasonably safely to the trailhead. So in my opinion, in this category we have a draw. Let's talk about prices. Now, luckily, hiking is free in both regions except parking fees in some places. There are quite a few of those in Transylvania, like at Bylja Lake, but the price is reasonable, I'd say. On the other hand, in the popular places in Norway, the parking fees are quite high. If you're interested in more details, I have written about this in an article, which I will link in the description below. In the price category, the winner should be obvious: Transylvania. The next category is the path infrastructure. I would say the paths are well maintained in both places, and I would give about 8 out of 10 for both regions. In Romania we have a quite clear marking system with different colors and different shapes for different destinations, and I don't really understand why other countries don't use this system, because it makes everything much more easy to follow. On the other hand, in Norway the popular routes are also well marked, and in some cases even built stone by stone, which can be a pro or can be a con. Some people prefer things to be natural, but on the other hand, on a muddy place, a bridge can be really helpful in my opinion. But on a less popular trail, it happened to us that the markings were not that clear, and we left wondering in which direction should we go, which of course can also happen in Transylvania and less popular, less frequently maintained paths. So So in this category we have a draw. The next point of view I'm going to talk about is camping and accommodation. My favorite style of camping is wild camping, for which both countries are winners. Wild camping is practically allowed in both of them, but still I feel that Norway's legislation is even a little bit more permissive and gives a little bit more facilities to the campers. For instance, you can camp for 48 hours even on private land if you respect a certain minimum distance from all the buildings. For those who prefer regular campsites, in Transylvania there are a few, but I would say it's still satisfying. On the other hand, in Norway I have seen a network of campsites so evolved as nowhere else. You have hundreds, if not thousands of campsites to choose from, and importantly, it's practically the only thing in Norway which costs about the same as in the rest of Europe. An interesting observation I have made in Norway that there are no classical mountain huts such as in the Alps or also in Transylvania. I don't know if the reason for this is just simply because we have not came across them, or because of the difficult geography of the country. They are really difficult to build in remote places and they are non-existent. Do you know if there are classical mountain huts in Norway? If yes, please leave me your answer in the comments. In the camping and accommodation category, the winner is Norway. And finally, the last category is safety. On our way to Trolltunga, we have seen at least 3 emergency huts, which are also popular in some mountain ranges from Transylvania. And while we are at it, I would like to ask you to pay attention to this. These are called emergency huts for a reason. They are built mainly for emergencies. I don't feel it's ethical to plan to sleep in those in advance just because you are too lazy to carry your tent. Maybe someone else gets in trouble because of a big storm or because of injury and they will need it more than you do. So think about this and act accordingly. An important difference between the two regions is that in Norway there are practically no predatory wild animals which can be a danger for humans. On the other hand, in Transylvania we have a really big population of brown bears, we have foxes, we have wolves, and we have lynxes as well. This also means that in Norway there is no need for shepherd dogs. So because of this, 2 of the big dangers of hiking in Transylvania are non-existent in Norway. Of course, if you know how to behave in these kinds of situations, the risk can be diminished significantly, and I will talk about this in a future video. In the safety category, the winner is Norway. Let's see the final conclusions. If we look at the score, we see that Transylvania wins with a slight edge. Now, of course, you could say that it's because I'm a local patriot, which is true. I could have easily chosen a different set of considerations such that Norway would have been the winner. But in the end, the important thing to consider is that these are 2 of my favorite places, so this is like comparing the latest iPhone with the latest Samsung Galaxy. One of them is better from some points of view, the other is better from other points of view, but in the end, both of them do their job really well. The same can be said about hiking in Transylvania and in Norway as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave me a comment. If you like this video, leave me a like, and if you want to see other videos like this, subscribe to my channel. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter, and if you want to support me, you can do that on PayPal and on Patreon.